testified to exalt and magnify the name of my Heavenly Father. He announced to me about my health problems, that I would be going to the doctor, and the word of the Lord was fulfilled. The doctors detected a tumor which had destroyed many organs, especially the colon. The diagnosis was that I had to use a colostomy bag for life because I will not have a colon. And they would have to put a part of plastic intestine. And when they will remove the tumor, I will be in a wheelchair. This was a very difficult diagnosis for my family. And the Lord did the work on me. 2 weeks before the Lord operated on me, 4 days before the surgery, He cleaned me, made me expel everything that was wrong with me. I arrived at the surgery despite the diagnosis that the doctor had given me, that I would be in the ICU, that I will not make it out alive. That's what they told my family. And I still came out alive for the glory and honor of the Lord, because my God did a work so great and so wonderful in my life. The surprised doctor told me that he did not know what had happened, but that it was a great miracle of God, because they did not have to do everything they had planned. Today, 9 days after the surgery, I am totally grateful, praising and glorifying the name of the Lord. May the Lord bless you.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. I testify to give the honor and glory to the Lord, to highlight the beautiful way in which the Lord supports our Sister Maria Luisa. At the beginning of the pandemic, I started to feel anguished, pain all over my body. I felt saddened. I had pain in my legs, ache in my head. I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to eat. And so I went to the doctor, and the doctor diagnosed me with gastritis and reflux, that I had irritation in my colon. And so they prescribed me medication, and I went to do some exams as well, but everything came back good, and the medication was no effect for me. And so the Lord placed in my heart that desire to send an email to our Sister Maria Luisa, and she responded and said that I had gotten witchcraft performed on me, and that I watch the Bible study and the teachings, and that in the moment where she would pray specifically on that, that I believe and have faith and pray specifically about it, and to remind him of the promises that he had made and said, and everything that he had done in the midst of my life. And it was so how, brothers and sisters, the Lord delivered me through one of the teachings imparted by our Sister Maria Luisa, and I testify to give the honor and the glory to the Lord.
A gray light from heaven flashed all over Paul. A gray light from heaven flashed all over Paul.
I would like to testify to give honor and glory to the Lord. During the pandemic, I only had $20 to my name, and one night during Sister Maria Luisa's prayer, she stated that the Lord would give us spiritual answers, and that despite the fact that we couldn't go to church or receive prophecy, He would be manifesting in our midst. And that night I had a dream where the Lord comforted me, and the very next day, the Lord opened doors for me and I was able to get a job. This brought so much comfort and so much hope into my life and soul. Additionally, a month and a half after I started working, I came home one day and I had all the COVID-19 symptoms. I had a lot of throat pain as well as breathing difficulties. I had lost my sense of taste, and I even had a very high fever. It was so high, in fact, that wherever I sat down or I laid my head to rest, it would feel very, very hot. This was on a Wednesday, but I still listened to Brother Carlos Roberto's sermon, and I replayed one of Sister Maria Luisa's sermon from Sunday. And with whatever little strength I had, I prayed to the Lord, and I said to him, Lord, I am a single parent, mother, and father to my children. I'm all alone in this country, so I ask you, please have mercy on us. The very next day, though, I had been healed. I felt perfectly fine. I no longer had a fever nor any symptoms or breathing difficulties. I took my temperature over the course of the day, and it was always normal. The Lord also spoke to me and told me that one of my loved ones would be very ill. He told me to pray in that very moment and to do so with my whole heart. And that moment came. My grandmother had an accident, and I remembered the Lord's promise. And so I reminded him of his very words, and I told him, Lord, please have mercy on my grandmother, because he was the one who knew all our hearts. And I told him that I wanted to bring my grandmother to his house, to the church. So I asked him to have mercy on her and to manifest his mighty hand in his life. His answer was immediate. And thanks to the Lord for the glory and praise of his name, she is now well. I have testified for the honor and glory of the Lord.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
would like to share with everyone that during the sermon given by Brother Carlos Alberto regarding envy, I prayed to God and asked Him to heal me from the disease in my legs, specifically showing Him where I had pain. In January, I was diagnosed with neuralgia paresthetica. It's a condition that is characterized by tingling, numbness, and a burning pain in the outer part of the thigh. But in my case, since I was born with a sensory and autonomic neuropathy disorder, I have no muscle strength. So the numbness and pain caused by the neuralgia doesn't last just a few hours, but many days. And after each painful experience, I couldn't feel my muscles for several weeks. And due to the muscle weakness, my physician recommended that I try withstanding the pain without medication, given that the medication itself results in further muscle weakness and loss of balance, which would augment my disability. That night after the sermon, I suffered another painful episode, particularly on my right thigh. I stood up and asked the Lord to have mercy, to help me fall asleep. Once I laid back down, I saw myself wearing a surgical mask and cap. After I fell asleep and dreamt that I had considerable pain in my thigh, I looked at my thigh and found a large pimple in the place where I felt the most pain. After I asked someone who was near me to give me hydrogen peroxide because my leg was completely covered in blood, but the person instead poured peroxide on his hands and cleaned me. The only thing left on my thigh was a tiny reddish hole from which water came out of, and at this point I no longer felt pain. When I woke up, I no longer had pain. I only had a slight discomfort in the same location where I previously felt the pain. It was as if I had a healing wound that stung, but I understood that it was a result of the procedure I experienced in the dream. Throughout the whole day, I felt that discomfort, but during Sister Maria Luisa's sermon, I realized I no longer felt any aching. In addition to this, I would like to share that during the sermon given by Sister Maria Luisa on August 27th, I felt symptoms of a urinary tract infection and prayed to God because I didn't want to end up having to go to the hospital given the circumstances. During the sermon, I felt a lot of burning and passed a kidney stone without any pain or discomfort. This surprised me greatly because when it's happened in the past, I typically have to be hospitalized for a few days. The Lord glorified Himself in taking away this pain that limited me in so many ways. I thank Him for His mercy and testified to give honor and glory to my Heavenly Father.